So today I want to talk about what Chloe's Eevee could possibly evolve into. After episode 49 where Chloe caught her special Eevee and the recent trailer showing Chloe who will start traveling alone, I think now is the perfect time to start asking the question, what will Chloe's Eevee evolve into? So today I'll be giving you my thoughts and predictions as to what I think will happen when it comes to Eevee and its evolution. But first I want to talk about the possibilities when it comes to Eevee evolving, and I see three things potentially happening. 1, Eevee doesn't evolve. 2, Eevee does evolve and I'll talk about what its evolutions may be, and 3, as a follow-up to the last possibility, I'll talk about Eevee potentially evolving into a new evolution. But first, let's talk about the possibility of Eevee not evolving. And when it comes to Eevee not evolving, I thought this was a highly likely option at first, especially early on when introduced in episode 49, since in that episode Eevee was shown being unable to evolve when a fire and thunderstone were used on it, which is why the scientists at the lab called it a mysterious Eevee, and in the same episode we were told that Eevee's genes were more unstable than usual, which is why this could be happening. And after watching that, two things came to mind. One, that this was all leaning towards Eevee not evolving similar to the Eevee from the Let's Go games, and that maybe Chloe's Eevee would learn special moves. Or 2, the more likely option, that Eevee not evolving could just mean that it's a Gigantamax Eevee, since Eevee with the Gigantamax factor can't evolve. There's also the fact that in the new opening that started in episode 50, we see Ash, Go, and Chloe traveling across the Galar region, home of Gigantamax Pokemon. So to me, all things pointed towards Eevee eventually Gigantamaxing. But as of right now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the journey with Ash, Go, Chloe, and Leon probably isn't happening, which definitely lessens the possibility of us seeing Gmax Eevee, at least as of right now. But it still could potentially happen if Chloe travels with Ash and Go to Galar in a future Galar postgame arc like we saw in the opening. Episode 73 also hinted at Ash and Go having more adventures in Galar, and in the new ending we see some Gigantamax Pokemon, so it's definitely possible that this will happen later on down the line, but we'll have to wait and see. I think having Chloe's Eevee Gigantamax in a Galar focused arc would be a great idea, since it would give us more Galar in the Gen 8 anime, giving us a chance to see more new Pokemon and characters from the games, not to mention see Chloe get more development with her Eevee. So if her Eevee isn't going to evolve, I think having it Gigantamax would be a great option. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what I think Chloe's Eevee will evolve into if it does evolve. I think that it's definitely possible that we'll see Eevee evolve, since Eevee has been shown daydreaming of what its evolution will be, so this isn't a situation like with Piplup and Pikachu where they didn't want to evolve. And I think an evolution would be a great way to highlight character growth for both Chloe and Eevee if it happens in a key moment on their journey. But before we talk about what Eevee could evolve into, there are a few important things to talk about and take into consideration. The first being what Eevee can and won't evolve into, and the second being what suits Chloe and Eevee. And when looking at what Eevee could potentially evolve into, we have to consider the other Pokegirls and other characters who have had Eevee in the past, since it's likely that we'll see them all in this series. And this is important because they probably aren't going to give any of the Pokegirls the same evolution, so we can definitely cross Glaceon off the list since May has that, and Sylveon as well since Serena owns one. And I also think we can safely take Vaporeon off the list for a couple of reasons. The first being that Eevee didn't evolve into one during the Vaporeon episode, so I don't really think that's an option anymore. And the second reason being that I'm 134% sure that Lana is going to have a Vaporeon if she doesn't already. We saw her catch Eevee in a dive ball, so I'm pretty sure that's a done deal. It's only a matter of time now. I think we can also get rid of Jolteon because 1, she already takes care of Yamper, and giving her another electric type Pokemon just doesn't make sense, especially since she already had one. If they really wanted an electric type to be her first Pokemon, they probably would have just had her keep Yamper. And 2, we saw that a Thunderstone didn't work on Eevee, and in the same episode we saw that a Firestone didn't work, so I think we can get rid of Flareon too. I also don't think Flareon suits Koharu's Calm Demeanor. So with 5 out of the way, we have 3 more options, and I think the next evolution to take off this list is Umbreon, since both Gary and Gladion have one, and we've seen both characters in the series already, with Gary being a reoccurring character in the Project New York, and Gladion who we will see eventually. So with Umbreon out, that leaves us with 2 evolutions left, Espeon and Leafeon, and before I even came up with the list, these are the 2 I had as the front runners for a few reasons, and I'll start with Espeon. I think personality wise Espeon would be the most similar to Chloe, And when looking at Chloe's name in Japanese, Koharu, it means a few things including spring and summer. And Espeon is known as the sun Pokemon, which is why to evolve Eevee into Espeon, it needs to be leveled up during the day with high friendship, making spring and summer the perfect months to make this happen, because there's lots of sunlight. And in a lot of Espeon's Pokédex entries, it talks about loyalty towards its trainer, which is something I think will be a focus as they search for an evolution for Eevee, especially since Koharu did say she wanted Eevee to choose what it would evolve into. And the last reason why I think Espeon would be a good pick for Chloe is because it kind of matches Koharu's hair color-wise. And trainers matching their Pokemon's color scheme has always been a thing. It's why May picked the Torchic, Dawn has a Piplup, and Lily has an Alolan Vulpix. So I think Espeon definitely fits the criteria. So now let's talk about Leafeon. There aren't as many reasons for Eevee to evolve into Leafeon, aside from the fact that no one else has it. It's a Pokemon that doesn't like to fight, which would suit Koharu, and its name and type match Chloe's name because of the Koharu Rose. And since Sinnoh remakes are approaching, giving her a Leafeon would help promote the games. May got a Bulbasaur and a Squirtle when Kanto remakes came out, Dawn got a Cyndaquil when Johto remakes came out, and Lana got her Eevee when Let's Go came out. So her getting a Leafeon under the same circumstances would make sense. I also think that since Chloe met her Eevee in a flower garden, that evolving it into a Leafeon at a mossy rock in another flower field would be a great way for things to come full circle. But if I had to choose between Espeon and Leafeon, I would definitely lean more towards Espeon. 1, because I think it suits Chloe more, and 2, because Eevee has more reasons to evolve into one. Now the last thing I want to talk about is a new evolution, and when it comes to Eevee evolving into a new evolution, I think there's a very low chance of this actually happening, but I still think it's worth talking about. In episode 49, it was stated by the scientists at the Eevee lab that Eevee could not evolve into any of the 8 other evolutions, and throughout the episode the number 8 was repeatedly brought up, highlighting the fact that Eevee could not evolve into one of the known 8 evolutions, which to me could be a subtle hint and foreshadowing that Eevee may evolve into a new 9th form. And looking at the series patterns for new evolutions, we've always gotten a new one in all of the even numbered generations aside from this one. So this could be their way of setting up a new Eevee evolution. So if they decided to give Chloe a new evolution, meaning its 9th form, it could be the perfect way to tie in Gen 9. But I think if Chloe was to get a new Eevee evolution, it would be at the end of this generation or at the start of the next one. But we have seen Pokemon appear an entire generation earlier in the anime, like Misty's Togepi or May's Munchlax. But I think the chances of this happening again are close to 0, if even possible. Those are pretty much all my thoughts when it comes to Eevee evolving. It'll be interesting to see how other characters and their evolutions play a role in what Eevee will evolve into, and I'm very interested in seeing how meeting Dawn will influence Chloe. With that being said, do you think Eevee will evolve into a Gmax Eevee? And if not, what else do you think it will evolve into, and what are the chances of a new evolution? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed discussions like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and bye.